So this is a Burke Bar, B-U-R-K-E. The original maker of this type of pry bar was Burke Concrete Accessories. It's been around since the 40s. You don't see them often enough on jobs. They're irreplaceable for any kind of demolition. There's a lot of things you can do with this that you just can't do with anything else. At first you think, well, that's too big and ungainly, but use it for 15 minutes and you'll be a convert. This one is manufactured by Marshalltown. You can buy these on Amazon. They're a crowbar, they're a sledgehammer, they're a scraper. There's a million things you can do with these that you can't do with anything else. It's 4 feet 9. That's a big bar. But it extends your reach for all sorts of things. The steel in the bit is completely different than the steel in the handle. This is carbon steel. Hardenable, temperable. It makes a spring in exactly the same way that this was a spring, in exactly the same way that this piece of a leaf spring out of a tractor was a spring. This is a spring. So that when you apply a load to the handle, pivoting on this fulcrum, there is a springiness that happens that can be used to your advantage. These are often used for situating tilt-up panels and tilt-up construction. 2 or 3 guys along the bottom of a tilt panel can rock a panel laterally using the springiness and the toughness and the leverage of these Burke bars. They're fabulous. They'll also do finer work. You see that nail puller? Comes down to a pretty fine cut. It'll pull a 16-penny nail, it'll pull an 8-penny nail, it'll pull a smaller nail if you're careful. So as far as the applications on these, there's almost nothing you can't do. Even the other end of the bar is useful. That open tube, you see that one's been a little beat up. If you've got a bent anchor bolt, or if you've got an anchor bolt that you want to break off, or if you want to slide this over the end of a crescent wrench to put a swede on the end to increase your leverage, you can slide that over a bolt, a piece of rebar, you can bend, you can pick it up and use it as a sledgehammer with a punching motion. If you need a straight pry, you can put that in and pry with a straight lever. It's a scraper, it's a sledgehammer, it's a nail puller, it's a crowbar. Everybody who intends to make any money in construction should have a Burke bar. If you can't find one of these in your town to buy, you of course can go to Amazon and order one. If you'd like to make one, you can do that. I've done it. I made one for a friend of mine and he's used it for years. But there's a couple things you have to be able to do. You have to be able to cut, you have to be able to weld, you have to have one of these for a template in order to get these angles and proportions right. And then you have to be able to harden and temper the bit. You have to have a piece of spring steel. You know, if you don't have a leaf spring the exact size, then you have to be able to forge one down. I think I used a piece of this on that one that I made. I don't remember for sure. It doesn't matter. But the primary skill that you'll have to have is to be able to bring the bit up to critical temperature, quench it in oil quickly enough to harden it, and then be able to draw it back to a spring temper, which is a full royal blue, so that it will stand the leverage you're going to put on it and doesn't break at the wrong moment and rattle your teeth or hurt your neck or smash your fingers. So if you're going to make one, go for it, but be careful. you see when I formed that shelf that suspended the edge of this column, of this cap, I crippled it with a skill saw cut, knowing that stripping it was going to be a problem, so it just broke right out.